My name is Cassy Summers. Welcome to the Curious Universe podcast. What if you were worth celebrating? Welcome to the Curious Universe podcast. Thank you so much for being here. That's what I want to explore today. What if you are worth celebrating? Not from what you do, from that being your value, but just for you being here, you being in the world. So what sparked this, inspired this topic for me was that it's actually my birthday week. So I'll be celebrating my birthday this weekend. And since I think maybe I was around the age of maybe 8 or 9, I remember making a choice, making a conclusion, a decision that I wasn't going to celebrate my birthday any longer. I would get so excited, like extremely excited for my birthday. And often what would happen is something kind of weird or wonky would occur, and it would create a lot of upset for me. We have those expectations as a kid, and then when those expectations aren't met, we can really take it personal. We could take it to mean something different. And somewhere through my childhood, I made this conclusion that I wasn't worth celebrating, and that my birthday didn't matter, and I would discount it. And that just carried on through my whole life, even into adult. So I'm so happy to celebrate other people's birthdays. I planned other people's birthdays with my kids' birthdays. They're always over the top. They have so much fun with that. I actually used to work at a kids' entertainment company, and we would go to kids' birthday parties and celebrate them. I loved it. I love celebrating others. But there was something really wonky for me about celebrating myself. And so I wanted to touch all the people out there that I've had this show up for them. Maybe they feel weird when they receive an extravagant gift, or when they're getting too much attention or too much acknowledgement or too much celebration, or it's, you know what I mean? What if you actually are worth celebrating? Yeah, did you just relax? All the bodies are like, oh yeah, we could be celebrated. That's so cool. And so with that, it's with the whole birthday gig, it's what if you were celebrating your choice to embody? What if you were celebrating the creation of this amazing, miraculous body? What if you were celebrating you coming together with that body and the gift that it is in the world? A lot of us have these conditional kind of things, and if you behave well, this is back to the kid stuff. If you behave well, then you get rewarded. If you behave poorly, then you get punished. And we start to create a system in our own world of, if I'm not good, then I should be punished. If I'm good, then I get rewarded. And that takes these types of things like birthdays, like celebrations, like even celebrating achievements, accomplishments. It's how often do we discount them? Oh, no, it was easy, so we shouldn't really celebrate it. Or, I didn't really do that much, so I don't want to take credit for it. Let's give that credit to someone else that did more. Well, what if you being you is valuable? What if you being in someone's life, in someone's world, in the world, is something worth celebrating? And what if it's okay to care that much about yourself? I had this point of view that to be humble, and you got to look at, what does the word humble mean to you? To me, humble meant to discount myself to discount my accomplishments, to never truly receive acknowledgement from others, made me a humble person. And my judgment at the time was that made me a good person, and I wanted to be a good person. So I'd be a humble person, which meant that I could never truly like acknowledge and step into the gift of what I was creating in the world. So I had to diminish it constantly, and I had to diminish myself to be what I decided was humble. What does humble mean to you? And I never wanted to be arrogant. Oh my. What's actually true though is I kind of walked through the world with an energy of arrogance and tried to prove that I wasn't arrogant by being what I decided was humble, which also meant I couldn't truly celebrate myself. I couldn't celebrate me. I couldn't celebrate my body. I couldn't celebrate the miracles I was creating and choosing. And can you perceive how much that diminishes what you're creating, what you're being? What if you were worth celebrating? It's a question I every time I ask it through this podcast, I'm noticing a different energy show up. I'm noticing a bit more of an opening to this possibility show up. And so I actually had this awareness only a month ago. It was my younger sister's birthday, and we were kind of planning something out with my older sister. And I was having a lot of fun, and this is where when you catch your own thoughts, it's a brilliant place to get an awareness of where you're functioning from. So the thought that came forward was, oh, I love doing this for other people, but I would never care enough about myself to do this for me. Whoa, cool awareness. So then I dove in a little bit deeper. What does that mean to care about yourself? Are you allowed to care about yourself, or does that mean that you're not humble? Or does that mean you're not a good person? Does that mean you're not kind? Did you have someone growing up that maybe they proved how great they were by sacrifice? My best friend's mom, she would always, like at dinner time, make sure all the kids got first, second, sometimes thirds of dinner. And if they wanted more food, and she would just give them her food off her plate. And it was kind of this level of proving how much she cared for her kids and not taking care of herself. And it made her a good mother from her point of view. That's what a good mother does, right? Right, mothers? No. But we buy into that sacrifice for your kids. No, that's what makes you a good mother. Make sure that they have what they need first. That's what makes you a good mother. What makes you a good spouse? What makes you a good partner? What makes you a good employee? What makes you a good, what have you decided makes you good in this area? And does any of that play into this place where you can't fully care for yourself to the degree in which you could? If you truly cared about yourself, would you allow people to talk to you in the way that you allow them to? Would you allow your friends to treat you the way that they treat you? If you took the most precious person in your life, the most treasured, precious, most wonderful person in your life, whoever you just love so dearly, and it could be an animal, could be a plant, could not be like a person. How would you treat them? And do you treat yourself with the same amount of caring, with the same amount of kindness? If you don't, you might want to look a little bit deeper into this area and see what you can break apart. Because what if caring for you and having that kindness for you opens up a world of possibilities where could you imagine a world where people cared enough about themselves that they were never in need, in survival? They were never diminished, degraded. They were never in this position of no care, of no kindness, that at least they had themselves. What would the vibration of the world change into? Oh, wow. Every single person on this planet at least had themselves to care for themselves. This is the whole concept of being you, changing the world. Because when you're willing to be that energy, you actually beam that energy into the world. And people will notice, they'll notice, wow, they were really kind to themselves. Huh. And not from kindness and caring for yourself doesn't mean you're fighting for or against anything. It doesn't mean that you have to take anything. It doesn't mean you're not coming from need or lack. To be really truly caring and kind to yourself, it's not from, oh, this person needs something, they're hurt, they require something, and it can, but to have that true caring and kindness for yourself, do you have that sense that you would have very little need or lack ever? And when it showed up, it would be handled with ease. What if you were worth celebrating? What if you cared so much about yourself that you would celebrate you every day, not just on a birthday, not just on a special occasion, not when you accomplish something or, something miraculous shows up in your life? What if every day you were like, wow, I am grateful that for me being in the world, and that's something worth celebrating. And it's grateful for you, the infinite being, and it's grateful for your body, because you guys are kind of here together, in case you haven't noticed. And and here's the thing, is that some people use birthdays as like a clock, like they're using it to age themselves. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about really celebrating your choice to embody. Because it was a choice. It didn't just happen. You weren't like stuffed into a body. You actually chose to be here on the planet at this time in the body that you chose. What if that was worth celebrating? What if you could celebrate the gift of your body and the gift of your embodiment, which is different than celebrating when you're older, huh? Because that's something that also never resonated with me. And I kind of put it on the same pile of, I don't celebrate my birthday. But they're very different. It's a very different energy. You could, yeah, so if you were creating a really special event, a really special celebration for someone that you truly cared about, what would that be like? And what if you were willing to create that for yourself, even if no one else will? Now, here's the magic, okay, is that when you're willing to be that for you, what often shows up is that other people want to be that for you, and they'll handle most of the celebration stuff. It might not happen at first, but give it a few months, start to see what shows up differently. Because if you don't have kindness and caring for you, it's very hard for someone else to be kind and caring for you. It starts here. It starts with your willingness to receive it, to be it, to know it, and to perceive it. I have tried myself to deliver kindness and caring to people that have no kindness and caring for themselves, and it often can get quite wonky. And sometimes they even have rejected my kindness and caring because they just were not able to receive it. So anywhere someone has rejected your kindness and caring because they couldn't receive it, and everything that you decided that meant about you or about them or about anything, what if you let that go? And what if you got really present with what is true for you? What is true? and what is truly possible when you're willing to have so much caring, kindness, and celebration for you. So it's really actually wonderful to look at this from that other perspective of how would I be with my lover? How would I be with my child? How would I be with my favorite person, my animal? How would I celebrate them being in the world, them being embodied here? What would I choose? What would I create? And then actually looking at that from being that with you. And now see, that's a very different energy, because I knew, and you may have experienced this as well, and it maybe have been you, where there were people that would have a celebration, but it wasn't really the sense of like celebrating. It was a throwing the biggest party, proving this, proving that, proving I'm popular, proving people like me, expectations on everyone around me, demanding that they deliver. It's not kind and caring for anyone. It's actually not even the kindness and caring for the person that's being that with their birthday or anniversary or whatever kind of event is going on. Wedding, you know, it's get a sense for you of what are the energies of true celebration. And then if I were to truly celebrate my embodiment, me being in the world, my partner, my marriage, my whatever, what would that be like? What would I create for that? How would that actualize? And when you're asking these questions, you might sense that the entirety of the universe starts to want to collaborate and partake in the celebration. It desires to give to you and to support this choice of caring for you and caring for your body. And the body is part of physical reality, so it's all these elements: money, gifts, comfort, delicious foods. All of this stuff will start to, where you'll go out for a meal and maybe it's the most delicious meal of your entire life, and you wonder, was it a different chef? Was it the time I went here? Well, what if it was your invitation to the universe to celebrate you embodied here? And that universe can work through and contribute through anyone and everything, because that's how consciousness works. So not from expectation, projection, rejection, separation, or judgment. What if you wrote out some things that if you, I love my lists. If you were truly celebrating you, what would you create? What would you actualize? What would that be like? And maybe you do something every month that celebrates you. I would say every week, but that might be like a little bit much for some people. But at least every month instead of once a year on your birthday. What if you were to celebrate yourself at least once a month? And then what I sense is that for those that have that need, that constant feel of lack, you might have a satiation, be satiated by that energy of celebration. And once you aren't functioning from that need, that lack, what is possible for you to create in the world? And who will you start drawing in? What caring, kind people will you draw in? And then how much more will you have to be that kind and caring energy for others? It just grows and grows and grows. I always say to my kids, what energy do you want more in the world? And what if you gifted that out there? I would love to have a more kind and caring world, but not always from out, but also from being willing to be it for ourselves. And you're not relying on anyone, you're not putting pressure or demand on anyone, but you have that request and that willingness to receive from anyone. And then all these infinite possibilities show up. Well, I think that we might have gone as far as we can go in this podcast. So thank you for exploring this topic with me today. If you have a birthday coming up, please put a comment because I'm going to give you a shout out. I'll celebrate you with you. Because truly, what if it is okay? What if it doesn't mean anything that you were told it meant? What if it didn't mean that you were selfish or self-centered or self-serving to celebrate you? What if it didn't mean that you weren't kind? What if it didn't mean anything? What if there was no meaning to it? It was just an awareness of a possibility, a contribution. And what if it didn't mean anything? So the meaning, you play on both sides. What does it mean if I do this? What does it mean if I don't do this? And clear those energies. Notice what's actually true for you. Not what you were taught, not what you saw other people do, but whatever has a lightness in your world, well, that's what's true for you. Because that which is light for you is true for you. And the things that are more contracted, heavy, those are lies that we bought. Sometimes we attach some little truths to them. They're not true for you. You can let them go. Thank you so much. Mwah! Celebrating you. And I'll see you on the next show.
Thank you for exploring the curious universe with me. Your curiosity matters. And what if together we could create a greater, more curious world?